Hi, Get Lover here again. If you've followed my videos, my leveling and crowning videos, you'll recognize this guitar. And we took the strings off this guitar, we leveled the frets, and we crowned and polished them, and cleaned the guitar. And so now we have to relocate this bridge because, like most archtops that are around, the bridge is a floating bridge, and it's not connected to the top of the guitar. You have to locate it. Each time you remove the strings, the bridge will come off, and then you have to locate it. It's held on to the top of the guitar by string tension. You have to put it back in its proper location. And the way that we do this is what I've done is I've strung the guitar up with a low and a high E on it. And these strings are not tuned to pitch. They're just tuned to hold this bridge down good so that I don't have to worry about it sliding around and moving too much, but so that I can freely move it side to side or backward and forward to get it where I want it to, for its proper adjustment. And the way that we do this is we take a rule. In this case, this is a 35-inch rule, and we place a rule at this side of the nut, the side that faces the bridge. And what we want to do, we want to lay the nut rule down, and we're going to want to go to the 12th fret, which is this fret, and we want to find out what the measurement is from the nut to the center of the 12th fret. In this case, it's 12 and 6/16. So this is a 24 3/4 instrument because if you double that measurement, it would be 24 and 12/16 or 24 3/4, which is what we're doing here. This is the beginning of the scale length without compensation. And so what we're doing is we're going to take that measurement, 12 and 6/16 to the center of the 12th fret, and we're going to take that measurement. Should be the same from the nut to the center of the 12th fret. It should be the same from the center of the 12th fret to where the string breaks over the high E saddle. The high E saddle will be generally the closest saddle to the nut. All the other saddles will fall back a little bit for compensation because of string thickness on the instrument. So we're concerned mostly with the high E saddle. What I normally do with high E saddle is I bring it forward in its travel till I've got just 2 or 3 turns from full stop forward. So that way I've got a little bit of leeway this way and a whole lot that way. Because most of the time, because your intonation will fall back from the basic 24 3/4 point a bit, depending on string diameter and things like that. So I want to take a measurement from the center of the 12th fret to this high E, the break point over the high E saddle. And then what I'll do is I'll turn this around because my bench is short. And I'll put my ruler there, right there at the break point. And I'll bring it down here, and it's just measuring exactly 13 inches. So it's got to come forward quite a bit. So we're going to come forward. There. That's 12 and 6/16 from here to the center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the front of the bridge, and that's 24 and 9/16. So I'm going to the nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, that ain't right, something wrong. Alright, see, now I've moved it. Let's go again. 12 and 6/16. And I'm going to tighten that down just a hair, so hopefully it won't move very much. And I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to take this measurement from the front of the bridge to, let's go to the center of the 12th fret, and that's 12 1/4 inches. And what that does is it just helps me to be certain that the bridge is located on the guitar fairly straight, and that's not right either. So I don't know what's going on here, but let me see. 12 and 6/16. All right, and that's 12 1/4, 12 1/4. That's where we want it. Let's make that measurement again. Alright, that's straight and on there the way that it's supposed to be. And actually I'm going to tilt it just a hair back this way, just because I like to have that little bit of extra room on the low E compensation. So here we have, that's in the proper location. It's half the scale length from the center of the 12th fret to the high E. And that's the same distance from the nut to the center of the 12th fret, and then from the center of the 12th fret to the high E. Alright, now what I'd like is I like to adjust my string distance from the high E to the edge of the fretboard and the low E to the edge of the fretboard. Most people want that sort of centered. Me, I kind of like a little more on the high E because I play lead up on the high E, and I like just a little bit more, that high E to be a little bit more from the edge of the fretboard. And since I moved it, I'm going to check this measurement again. It's still dead on. Now, from this point, the bridge is located in the proper place. What I would do next is I would put all the rest of the strings on it, then tune it to pitch, and begin the intonation process. I don't have the camera to be able to show you close up enough with the tuner exactly how to intonate the guitar, but it's very simple, and there are many tutorials here on YouTube that will tell you how to do that. So this is how you locate this bridge. From there on, I will string it up, set the intonation, and go from there. Adjust the truss rod, adjust the action height. I shouldn't have to do a whole lot to this guitar. Now, one caveat: when you level and dress frets, usually you need to adjust the nut height, the nut slot heights, because you have taken material off of the frets, and therefore the nut slot heights are actually, the nut slots are actually a little bit higher than they were normally on the guitar. But with this one, the nut is very old. This is the original nut on this guitar, so it's 30+ years old, and it was beginning to get fairly low and need to be adjusted anyway. So eventually it would have needed to be replaced, and still will, but I've bought a few months or so on that because I've lowered my frets and therefore raised the height of the nut slots slightly. I'll check them when I go to set up the guitar and make sure, but I think I'll probably be good to go on them for a while. But I will check, I will string it up, set the intonation, set the action height, or set the truss rod adjustment, not necessarily in that order, but I don't expect that I will have a whole lot of work to do on this instrument. It was set up really well before I did all of this. I assume that I may be able to drop the action just a tad bit lower on it, but not by a whole lot. I probably took 30 or 40 thousandths I probably took 10 or 12 thousandths, not 30 or 40. I probably took 10 or 12 thousandths off the top of the frets when I leveled and dressed them. So I may not even mess with the action. I may just leave it be, but this instrument should not require a whole lot of setup because it was well set up when I began this process, and I don't really intend to change that setup much because it's my preferred setup, and I think that it will probably be pretty close when I go to put it back together. So there is how to locate the bridge on an archtop guitar or any guitar with a floating bridge. You want to make sure it's located according to scale length, and then begin your compensation from there. Remember, it's the most important measurement is where the string breaks over the high E saddle. The distance from that to the center of the 12th fret should be the same as the distance from the nut, the side facing the frets, the side of the nut facing the frets to the center of the 12th fret should be the same distance. And that is half your scale length. And you locate the bridge from the 12th fret to that saddle, and that will give you the complete scale length of that guitar. That's the length of the string, or your high E string. Everything will fall back from there. Your high E may fall back a little bit depending on its diameter, things like that, but it usually will not come forward. So that's how you locate it. It's very simple, very easy. And now I'm going to string this instrument up and make some adjustments and have fun playing it. And God bless you, and I hope that this helps you to be able to work on your own instruments a little bit more. And thank you.